Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Junix.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you this morning?
I'm good.
I hope you had a good trip. Yes? Good morning. How are you this morning?
Good morning.
Our woman leader.
Thank you.
Our favorite woman leader. I forgot that name yesterday. How are you? Rufy on fire.
I'm good, though.
Today we are marching.
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
It's green for Nigeria.
Yeah, you.
Yes.
Okay, white.
Yes.
Today we
Yes,
are
sir.
marching.
Green for Nigeria.
Green for Nigeria.
Oh,
Yes, congratulations
Yes.
to her.
Be-
Fantastic.
Not for
we have
AFN,
her,
though.
we have her for our good news report.
Very good.
Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending by taking a look at the controversy surrounding the assassination of Charlie Kirk, an influential right-wing activist and close ally of President Donald Trump, who was shot dead last Wednesday while speaking at Utah Valley University. His assassination has exposed the toxic polarization surrounding political violence in America and the boundaries of free speech in the workplace, with significant professional consequences for those who post celebratory content on social media. Meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, Oxford Union President-elect Judge Abaraonye, a British Nigerian, has faced online harassment after media reports revealed his social media posts welcoming Kirk's shooting. According to reports, Abaraonye had posted the words, "Charlie Kirk got shot, LOL," on Instagram and made similar comments in his WhatsApp chat with fellow students before quickly deleting them. Abaraonye is now caught between condemnation for his celebratory posts and becoming a target of racial harassment himself. The Oxford Union says it is deeply concerned by the racial abuse and threats directed at its incoming president. The controversy carries particular irony, given that Abaraonye had debated Kirk just months earlier at the Oxford Union in May, where the pair expressed opposing views on masculinity in what was described as a civilized academic discussion. Let's take a look.
Do you think men would be happier if they were married and providing for a family?
I don't think marriage or the institution of marriage is the only way a man can be happy.
That's not what I said. I said generally happier. Do you think men will be generally happier if they're married, providing, and have children?
I don't think that's a necessary factor to contribute to this happiness.
What is your solution to bring about male happiness in the West? Mine is men get married, have children, and provide. What is yours?
I think an affirmation of their emotions, their emotional states.
We've tried that.
I think an openness to allowing men to express themselves in whichever way they want, even if that is in a more effeminate way. Men are free to live single, men are free to be in gay relationships. I don't think that the institution of marriage privileges one to a life of happiness over any other way of living.
You're scrambling for an excuse to get away from the truth that's right in front of you.
I mean,
maybe men should get married and have children.
Okay, but I think
because it's worked for 2,000 years.
I just think it's a very dishonest way to go about this argument, that there's only one issue.
Why is it that men in countries that barely have toilets and do not have 2 pounds to rub together, but they do have kids and they do have a wife, are much happier than someone with a big flat in downtown London? These poor countries do not have male suicide problems. Why?
I do not know.
Think about it. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, in speaking with The Times, Abaraonye, who will become the second Nigerian and African to hold the position of president of the Oxford Union, said he immediately deleted his post on social media, stating, and I quote, "I reacted impulsively and quickly deleted the comments as they did not reflect my values, and as some have called for his expulsion from the union and even from Oxford University." Popular political and women's rights activist Dr. Shola Moshobamimu posted a video about Abaraonye, calling out some on the right for their hypocrisy regarding Abaraonye's comments vis-a-vis some comments made by Kirk about minorities. Let's take a look.
When he heard Charlie Kirk was shot, he put out a WhatsApp message. Imagine it as breaking news. Charlie Kirk shot. Let's effing go. Now, was that insensitive in light of Charlie being shot? Of course. But it's no more offensive than Charlie Kirk calling George Floyd a scumbag when he was murdered and denying that he was murdered. Was George's comment, I don't know, offensive to some people? Naturally. But you know what's even more offensive than that? Charlie Kirk manufacturing consent for the genocide and ethnic cleansing of Palestinians every single day. Now, was George's comment hate speech? No. Was George's comment a crime? Heck no. Should he lose his place in university because of it? Hell to the frick no. Because you know what? I didn't see any of you people demonetizing or deplatforming Charlie Kirk as he went from one campus to another, indoctrinating masses of youth with his white supremacist and white nationalist ideology. And it seems Oxford University agrees, because they said as abhorrent as his comment is, doesn't violate our policy on free speech. And these advocates of free speech went mad. They want to destroy the future of this young black man and scapegoat him for the crime committed by Tyler Robinson, the young white man who actually killed Charlie Kirk.
All right, we're also learning that Abaraonye is set to face disciplinary proceedings with the union. The institution emphasized that complaints about him will be addressed with utmost seriousness. The Oxford Union has found itself in a difficult position of condemning both the threats against Abaraonye and his original remarks. In the meantime, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has condemned those celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk, calling for swift accountability measures against individuals who have made inappropriate social media posts about the killing. Vance spoke on Charlie Kirk's show on Monday, urging Americans to call them out and call their employer, emphasizing that while the administration doesn't believe in political violence, it does believe in civility.
So when you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer. We don't believe in political violence, but we do believe in civility. And there is no civility in the celebration of political assassination. Get involved, get involved, get involved. It's the best way to honor Charlie's legacy. I can't promise you this is going to be easy. I can't promise you that all of us will avoid Charlie's fate. I can't promise you that I will avoid Charlie's fate. But the best way to honor him is to shine the light of truth like a torch in the very darkest places. Go do it.
Shine the light of truth, and that's what J.D. Vance is saying. But we do know that Charlie Kirk had, in his lifetime expressed a lot of extremist views, and some of them were quite harsh with a lot of, the Arab nations, especially the blacks as well. And, this conversation about Abaraonye, people calling for his expulsion from the union, even after he had deleted his tweet, apologized, saying that it was impulsive. What are your thoughts on that?
So, Oji, this spans back historically. Anytime you have a right-wing movement baited by religious nationalism, in this case, Christian nationalism, like it's happening in America, this is what you see. But it's always happened before. In the 30s, it was against the Jewish people, as propagated by Adolf Hitler, and they had co-conspirators in America, the likes of Father Coughlin, which is a Catholic priest that had one of the biggest radio shows in the 1930s in America, that said very anti-Semitic things against the Jewish people. It was about nationalism. Then the problem was the Jewish people taking our country away. Exactly what is happening. So it's not about Charlie Kirk here. They are using Charlie Kirk as a symbol to assert their dictatorial tendencies in the right wing. And that's why you can see the hypocrisy of America. His body was picked up in Air Force 2. That's what they call signaling in dictatorial disposition. They used American naval officer to lift his body. Charlie Kirk didn't hold any high position in the country. He was just a podcaster for Pete's sake.
But they
gave him national honors to be able to signal as a right of telling other right-wingers that kudos for the job of enmity, the division you are creating, that will support you. When President Trump was asked about the House of Rep member, state rep member killed by somebody on the right wing, he said he didn't know about her. When a politician was killed, he didn't amplify it because that was a lefty that was killed. But when somebody on the right is killed, then he amplifies it. So it's part of the religious war, the right-wing war they are baiting as we speak today. So what do? They will clamp down on everybody. Delta, for instance, they've put pressure on Delta. Some of the staff that tweeted, I'm not saying nobody should tweet in support of another person being killed. But we should also call out the hypocrisy of the right wing and what they are doing. When Charlie Kirk called, I can't breathe, scumbag.
Judge Floyd.
They didn't say anything about him. Yeah. When he said heinous thing, they didn't say anything about him. You see, it is now obvious that the right wing does not believe in free speech.
All right.
They believe in dictatorship and an authoritarian outlook to things. Because when it's not in their favor, they shut people down, they cancel people.
All right.
But when people speak against them, they can't take it.
All right.
What's the way forward, Oji? We want sanity in the world. The world does not need all of this bigotry that is going on, because it's fast spreading. Look at the protests that happened in UK over the weekend with Tommy Robinson. So you are seeing the world snowball, and all of this is happening because you have economic inadequacy, and just like it happened in the 30s, Hitler came about because of the economic struggles in Germany.
Yes.
So it's repeating itself, and we need to be careful. The sad part for me, it is now baked in religious nationalism, which is Christian nationalism, which is right-wing movement, which is suppression of other voices.
All right. Well, Dr. Abati, I'd like for you to even start with Abaraonye's call for expulsion. The Oxford Union has said that they're going to stand with him because it goes against the institution's free speech policy. Your thoughts?
Okay. First, let me say that I identify fully with the sentiments expressed by Dr. Mos Shogbamimu. And our main point is that, look, there's a lot of double standards in how people relate ideologically. Secondly, that the right to free speech is being trampled upon by those who are trying to be politically correct. Now, the gentleman Abaraonye, he may have gone a bit, to the extreme by saying, laughing out loud, Charles Kirk has been killed. I don't think that anybody who is assassinated, anybody who is the victim of extreme politics and gun violence, we should celebrate that, because every life is important.
Absolutely.
However, his right to free speech should also be respected. Now, I'm told that even Piers Morgan is the one leading the campaign that he should be expelled.
Yeah.
He should be removed as the president-elect of the Students' Union. So how do you draw the balance between political correctness, decency, and the right to free speech? And what they are doing at the Oxford University is a carryover from the United States. Do you know that in the United States, there is even a website called Charles Kirk Murderers, where anybody at all that tries to show that, well, Charles Kirk asked for it, his name is put there and the person is hounded and, harassed. Matthew Dowd lost his job at MCBC. One professor at Western Tennessee State University was sacked because he said, Charles Kirk had it coming for him. Some eateries, in some parts of the United States, they sacked some of their staff. So what you find here is, this culture of extremism, this culture of double standards, this culture of hypocrisy, in the reaction to the death of Charles Kirk. And I once said it on this same segment, that when the matter came up in the U.S. House of Representatives, now the Republicans wanted a minute of license. They also want the prayers read out. Now the Democrats said, we don't need to say the prayer loudly. How about the students who were killed in a secondary school in Colorado?
Correct.
Okay, they call it high school in the U.S. It's here in the village that we call it secondary school. That some students that same day were killed. They were shot. So what you could see that ideologically, it's not just the United States that is divided.
Yes.
Even the entire world is divided.
Absolutely.
And you can see what happened in Spain, during the cycling incident. Even Spain is divided.
Right.
The Prime Minister says Israel should be banned from sports because of its attack on Gaza and support for genocide. The mayor of Madrid says no. The Prime Minister is an extremist and this and that. So, and it's not good for world peace. It's not good for human relations.
Yes.
It's not good for community feelings.
I
don't think that Abaraonye should be victimized for expressing
I like
his
that.
viewpoint.
I like that, Dr. Bati. It's not good for world peace. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody should be shot for expressing an opinion.
We've said that a number of times. We've established that everyone has a right to free speech, and you shouldn't kill someone because of their right to express, whether you agree with it or not. Now, with regards to George Abaraonye, I must say that Oxford as an institution has always prided itself as an institution that upholds free speech. I recall when I was in university in the UK that there was a time when the BNP, the British National Party, which is an extreme right party, which was deplatformed across universities in the UK, had the opportunity to go to Oxford because they said everyone had a right to speak, whether you agree with it or not. To now see the incoming president be, vilified for his expression, whether or not it was insensitive or not, I think it goes against the very ethos of the institution. And he has come out to explain his side of the story. I believe that they've said that the university itself will not take any disciplinary action against him. It is now whether or not they are pressuring him to resign. Charlie Kirk himself had the right to free speech in the United States of America. He didn't agree, not many people agreed with what he said, but he had that freedom of expression and thought. And that's the same thing that George had said, that he's expressing in the context of the man in question himself. So please, I do hope that the Oxford University will uphold the standard for free speech.
Well balanced, very well balanced. Thank you all. I'm glad that we're all able to chime in on this conversation. Again, I mean, Abaraonye has apologized and he said that, his statement was impulsive. Well, I hope that the debate and the institution, the union, will look into that, and hopefully he's instated as the second Nigerian to be an Oxford Union president. Well, now to Niger State, where Governor Umar Bago has drawn swift reactions on social media after announcing that all preachers in his state must submit their sermons for review before preaching. Speaking during a live interview on Sunday, Governor Bago, who had recently banned unlicensed religious preaching, took the directive a step further. He said the state government also needs to know exactly what preachers will be saying to ensure they aren't spreading anti-people and anti-government sentiments. Well, let's take a look before we take some reactions.
The religious affairs said for anybody going to sermon on a Friday, he should bring his scriptures for review. And it's normal. Even in Saudi Arabia, it's done like that. We cannot say because you have been given opportunity to be a clergy, you go there and preach some gospels that are, anti-people, anti-government, and you think it's normal. We want to be able to see what they are preaching, hear what they are saying. We are working together with the security agencies, the Department of State Service, the police, the civil defense, and even the military.
I mean, this is incredible. He actually compared Nigeria to Saudi Arabia. I mean, this isn't the first time Niger State has imposed a level of oversight on public discourse. Last month, we discussed this. Governor Bago also directed the Commissioner of Police to seal off Badegi FM radio station over alleged incitement. Let me take some reactions to this story. This person wrote on X. While the Nigerian Constitution guarantees freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, it explicitly states that the government shall not adopt any religion as a state religion. It also allows for restrictions on fundamental rights for the purpose of maintaining public order and security. The legality of the governor's directive is therefore a subject of debate, but this policy is unprecedented in the level of government oversight as it introduces the contentious legislation over religious content, and this has drawn criticism from religious leaders and congregants who view this innocuous policy as an insidious infringement on constitutional protections. Another ex-user wrote, Mr. Governor, your duty is to protect the security and welfare of the state, not to intrude on people's rights of expression or dictate how they worship. Your responsibility is to ensure that regardless of what is preached in places of worship, peace and security are maintained. Have you now become a gospel police? Why try to regulate sermons instead of focusing on your core duty? Stay in your lane, safeguard the state, keep the peace, and separate government responsibility from religion. And I thought that was so apt.
That was very powerful. Thank you so much. He summed my thoughts this way, that the governor of Niger State has been majoring in a lot of minors in recent times. There are many issues in Niger State that deserve his attention more than this. Yes. When it comes to religious freedom, we've often talked about it and how free it is here in Nigeria is guaranteed by the Constitution. Unfortunately, when you start to police, as it were, clerics, and comparing us to Saudi Arabia that is an Islamic state. Nigeria is supposed to be a secular state, but oftentimes we see again and again how leaders, governors, presidents choose to police what should be freedom and a right of choice for individuals in their state. Yes. Let me give him better, in terms of other areas to look at. Let's look at infrastructural development in Niger State. Let's actually talk about empowering the people enough with education to ensure that they have a better chance at life and aspiration. Let us look at, security challenges, the bandits, and the talk around the fact that some of them is steeped in ideological beliefs or even religious beliefs. Let us address those things and not talk about how, and you know what he said? He said, so that we can check out whether the sermon is anti-government or anti-people. It is also a covert way of clamping down on free speech, even amongst the people, so that no one will criticize him or say anything that does not agree with his government or his person. We need to nip this in the bud. If not, after a fashion, Nigerians will just be docile. Whatever the leaders meet on the people is what they will accept. Right. So that he allows the people to speak freely and lets him face governance.
Section 38 of the Nigerian Constitution guarantees the freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. In other words, if the government of Niger State is trying to control how pastors or clerics generally think, that would be a violation of their fundamental rights under Section 38. And a further violation is indicated in Section 39, which talks about freedom of expression. Now, I'm surprised that in Niger State, they have a Niger State Religious Affairs Department. Now, Section 10 of the same Constitution says that you cannot interfere with, there shall be no state religion. So what are they doing in that Religious Affairs Department? And we've praised Governor Bago before.
We have.
He promotes religious unity. We saw him twice, in fact, going to churches to sing, to even preach, to promote religious unity. Yeah. But to censor clerics will be a bit too far. Section 11, however, says, of the same 1999 Constitution, that there's something about public security, and nobody, whether you are a religious figure or whatever, you are not allowed to incite the public or to cause mayhem. So how do they in Niger State, walk the tightrope without censoring the rights of religious people under Sections 38 and Section 39?
These are the questions. I'll go to Katsina State now, and Rufai, we can tie it all together. We'll take the story in Katsina State, where reactions have trailed the peace deal negotiations between one of Nigeria's most wanted terrorists, Isiya Kwashen Garwa, with a community in Faskari local government area of the state. The deal was announced on Sunday in a post on X by Zagazola Makama, a security analyst specializing in the Lake Chad region. In the post, Makama explains that for a long time, the terrorists had been linked to kidnappings, killings, and raids across forest areas in Katsina, as well as neighboring states. Reactions to the story have been divided. While some see the development as a chance to restore calm in long-troubled communities, others question the sincerity of the bandit leader, recalling the atrocities attributed to his group. I mean, look at this man out there holding a rifle. He's out there, Rufai, and meeting with community members. And this is the sort of conversations we're having right now in Nigeria. I'll take the reactions trailing this story. This is from an ex-user, wrote on X. Is the peace deal the required justice for the numerous lives that were wasted and are still wasting so many years of setbacks, not only for the direct victims of insurgency and the Northeast, but also for the country in general? Negotiating peace with bandits and enemies who held the entire country hostage for so many days is synonymous with encouraging others to constitute themselves into groups to wage war against the country with the mindset of being granted amnesty after so many years of infiltrating havoc and destroying lives. Meanwhile, a peace deal that was intended to end years of violence in Nigeria's northwest has collapsed after bandits abducted 40 worshippers in Zamfara State. The peace pact had been signed on August 28 between community leaders and bandits in Katsina State. However, less than a month later, gunmen attacked a mosque in Gidantobe village in Safe local council and abducted dozens of worshippers during morning prayers on Monday. Despite the setback, the Katsina State government is saying they support community-driven pacts with repentant terrorists, but maintain a policy of zero negotiation. What sort of contradiction is that? Rufai?
So when you see a society that the oppressors are beginning to have a very free reign, and the people that the government ought to protect, the government can't protect them, so they try to look for deals with their oppressors. These are vestiges of a dysfunctional society. You will have thought that this government will focus on that, but they'll never focus on that. They'll focus on politics. And that's why they were doing elections in Zamfara State, 5 local governments. I can't still process that thing. They deployed officers from Gombe and other parts, military officers, battalions were there. Insecurity, you will never see that kind of mass deployment. You see, because number one, the government doesn't really care about you that much. So you are left in the hands of kidnappers and bandits. You have to beg them for peace still. And that's the dysfunctional society we live in. And it's that kind of dysfunctional society that breeds people like Bago. That Badegi FM held his feet to the fire. He felt no other thing to do. He said he was going to demolish the station. Thank God Badegi FM didn't call to him. You know how many media stations that have called to dictators and outright bullies in this country? They took him to court, and he was repelled. Now he wants to look at the sermons of preachers. At a point, if care is not taken, I'm not saying he has done it, but at this rate, maybe he'll start looking at all the phones and the call log of everybody because he wants to censor thoughts. The best antidote to react, if they say you are not doing well, is to do well. But in a large regard, in a very big aspect, yes, he has gotten some successes right in agriculture, but in trampling of rights and things like that, he has not done well.
Yeah.
And we have to tell him what it is. In that interview, he made many blunders. And please, his chief press secretary should walk him about what they call image. He thinks he's straight talking, but he says a lot of rubbish. Just like what he said in that interview, that Bogu local government is bigger than the entire Southeast. Empirically, it was proven to be wrong. Bogu local government is not bigger than the entire Southeast. Right. So is this not the same man that told his police orderly to slap an imam or something, and the next thing, his reaction was, oh, he was an imposter. So even if it is an imposter, you say they should slap people like that?
All right.
So, you see, we have a dysfunctional society that celebrates dictators, give them a free rein to rule, to lead, to hurt, to demean, and we are meant to go and say rankadede to dictators. And when you speak out, you are told that you are not patriotic, and they will couch it around religious and tribal lines.
Right. I mean, this is the situation that we have in our hands at this point. We have this terrorist leader who is actually number 9 on the DSS list, most wanted, and he's out there. His pictures are there, and he's negotiating with the community. It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. We have the picture of the man
bandit was given chieftaincy
title.
And government officials were invited to the ceremony, and they attended it. Is it not the same country where they were giving bandits wives? One state was organizing women for them. That if they got married, they would be...
Look at the military fatigue the guy is wearing.
Come on.
If you dare wear that camo, the military will beat you blue-black in public. But look at him. Wearing a military cap.
Unacceptable.
It's the audacity and boldness of impunity. That's
Bandits and terrorists are criminals.
They are.
They do not deserve jollof rice. They do not deserve chieftaincy titles. They do not deserve any form of negotiation.
No.
The law of the land must be made to follow its course.
Well said, Dr. Abatin. Well said. We're turning now to Oyo State, where Peter Obi, the Labour Party's presidential candidate in the 2023 elections, recently paid a courtesy visit to the Olubadan designate, Rashidi Ladoja. During his visit, Peter Obi stated that Nigeria's history is incomplete without Ibadan, praising the city's significant role in the country's development Obi also expressed confidence that Ladoja, a former governor and senator, will bring his wealth of experience to his new role as the 44th Olubadan of Ibadan land.
With that energy, you never know me, don't like me.
I have seen the president.
Can we unite and love each other? I have to build a better country. We have no other country except this one. And we must all build it together.
There you have it, Ayo. Peter Obi's visit is quite significant, especially in the run-up to the 2027 elections. It's a classic example of how politicians in Nigeria, regardless of their position, continue to build bridges with traditional institutions. It's common practice, right, Dr. Abati, for political figures to seek the blessing of traditional rulers, recognizing their immense influence and their role as custodians of culture and community. I want to take this reaction so that, we can discuss this. This person, truth be told, wrote on X. This courtesy visit by Peter Obi and Gbadebo Rose Viber to the Olubadan designate is just another overhyped political stunt. It's not about unity. It's a desperate grab for relevance ahead of the 2027. The crowd and traditional vibes won't change the fact that this is all for show. Empty promises as usual. Truth be told, this is more noise than substance. That's the ex-user there. Another person wrote, well, including today's generation in conversations like this is crucial, because Peter Obi mentioned that. It helps reshape and redirect Nigeria's future towards a better tomorrow. The coming together of experienced leaders and fresh voices gives hope for real progress. I mean, I love to see these sort of images, though, and optics. What are your thoughts?
All right, let me first of all, congratulations to now the Olubadan of Ibadan, who's also an experienced politician in his own right, and now he's coming there. Former governor, an experienced politician. He was also quite influential in Oyo politics. But also to see Peter Obi, who has not yet said where he's going to or what he will do come 2027, go there to pay a courtesy visit, in respect of tradition. Now, to the first person who says, well, this is just a political stunt, the truth is that you do the talk. You don't do the talk. Everybody's consolidating their base, whether it's through grassroots engagement ahead of 2027. Irrespective of what he decides to do, at least what he's showing is that he continues to connect to the people, whether from the south, the east, west, or north in Nigeria. This is what we need to see. More unity along ethnic divides. No, at the end of the day, one Nigeria, we promote that, and whatever he needs to do to ensure and to give a good signal to the people, I think it's fantastic, and I think it's good that he's done that visit. More unity is what we need in Nigeria. Now, finally, let's take our story under milestones. We celebrate a historic figure in the Catholic Church, Pope Leo XIV, who marked his 70th birthday at the Vatican this past weekend, making him still the youngest pope in 4 decades. Born Robert Provost in Chicago, Pope Leo made history last May when he became the first American-born pope, elected at the age of 69, the youngest pontiff since Pope John Paul II took the papal throne in 1978. The celebrations began on Saturday night when thousands gathered in St. Peter's Square for the Grace for the World concert, co-directed by Andrea Bocelli and Pharrell Williams, a spectacular prelude that was followed by a breathtaking drone show lighting up the Vatican sky. Sunday's festivities painted an even more beautiful picture of unity. Giant happy birthday banners fluttered in English, Italian, and Spanish, while balloons and congratulatory signs filled the hands of the faithful. Groups of Peruvian believers dressed in traditional attire danced in the square, a powerful testament to the 2 decades Pope Leo spent as a missionary and bishop in South America, touching lives and building bridges across continents.
Tante grazie a tutti. Carissimi, sembra che sappiate, oggi compio 70 anni. Rendo grazie al Signore, ai miei genitori e ringrazio quanti hanno avuto un ricordo nella preghiera.
I believe that kind of love, God's love, is the love that the world needs. When we wrote this song, we won an Academy Award for Best Original Song, and we stood on the stage and we said, Selma is now, because we know that the fight for justice is far from over. There's backlash, there's resistance, but we're going to keep on fighting, and one day when the glory comes, it will be ours. Oh, glory. Glory. Oh.
Dr. Martin was like, this was at the Vatican,
yes,
but of course it was at the
Vatican.
Vatican. Well, as Pope Leo celebrates 7 decades of life and his first birthday as the leader of 1.3 billion Catholics worldwide, we at Arise News join thousands around the globe in wishing a remarkable spiritual leader many more years of wisdom, compassion, and guidance. Happy 70th birthday, Pope Leo the 14th. I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on What's Trending. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.